I'm back and so are you. If you're just seeing my beautiful face for the first time, my name is Adora Ezike and my channel is Life with Adabeke. I am a blogger, podcaster, and an incoming medical student in the United States. And this should be like my second video. I'm pretty new on the YouTube streets. Just let me know in the comments how you were able to find me. If you're a returning subscriber, if you're a returning viewer, go ahead and subscribe, everybody, and let me know what made you come back. But let's get into the tea of today. Well, I wanted to talk about some things that I feel like is not really shared amongst the international student community in general, or just anybody who lives outside of the US and is looking to come to the US to study medicine. So when I was in high school, we would have, college, like Education USA, different colleges visit like our high schools or like just have general college fairs where they would talk about their own school, they would talk about what their different schools offered. But I found that sometimes that information was missing when it came to healthcare, and especially when it came to medicine as well. They did not really tell us what we needed to know as high school students who maybe wanted to come to the United States and would be potentially studying medicine or any health-related field. They didn't really give us the information, especially since our system in my country, Nigeria, was quite different from the system here in the United States. So this video, I just want to share some of the very, very important things that you should know if you are an international student or if you are someone who is looking to study medicine in the United States. So this is really what I want to do. I took some notes down here in my notebook. So if I'm looking down, that's exactly what I'm looking at. Please don't be weirded out by that. So let me start. The first thing is that medicine in the United States is a postgraduate degree. It is not a bachelor degree. What do I mean? So in my country, Nigeria, and actually in many countries, the UK, many different countries, if you want to study medicine, you are actually going to be going in straight after your secondary or high school education. You would be going into university to study medicine. In my country, if you study medicine, it's an MBBS. So I think that's a Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery. That's the degree you'd be getting. It's a 6-year degree. So right after secondary school, you go into university and that's what you're studying. However, in the US and I think in Canada as well, medicine is a postgraduate degree. What does that mean? That means that you actually have to complete an undergraduate degree completely before going in for your medical degree. You cannot enter undergrad to study medicine. I actually didn't really know that when I was applying to schools in the US. I thought that, I would be coming in and I'll be studying medicine because that's how it works in Nigeria. But that's not the case in the US. So you have to be looking at an education that lasts at least 8 years, pardon me. So if you're not prepared for that, if that's not the trajectory that you're really going for, then maybe coming to the US to study medicine might not be for you. However, if you do want to study medicine in the US, just be prepared that you have to do a bachelor's degree. Mine was in biology, but just know that you do have to get an undergraduate degree before going to medical school. The next thing is that you have to take the MCAT. You might have heard MCAT. You might have heard it in passing, you might have heard it, maybe never heard it before. I certainly had never heard of the MCAT before, I think my second year in university. That was the first time I ever heard of like an MCAT. I heard about it from one of my roommates. So I did not know what MCAT was. So MCAT is Medical College Admissions Test. I will put the right thing down here if it's not the right thing that I said. But you have to take the MCAT it's like an entry exam that you need to take for medical school. And for me, even when I found out about the MCAT, I thought that the MCAT was something that, if I get a particular score, then I'm guaranteed entry into medical school. No, that's not how it works. Yes, you do your best, you try your best to score as high as possible, but you could do really well in the MCAT and still not get into medical school. In Nigeria, like there's there's tests that you take, and once you pass that test, you are guaranteed entry into the school or into the program that you want to get into. But that's not the way it works with the MCAT. So the MCAT is something you need to know of, and you need to do well in it. But the fact that you did well in it does not mean that you are automatically granted entry into medical school. Another thing is that you need to realize that the whole application process is roughly a year long. So again, this was one of those things that I found out while already in undergrad. Like, I found out maybe my 3rd year of undergrad. You people, God, the things I did not know and I found out a little too late. So let's say you plan to enter medical school in fall. So fall here means like July, August, September-ish of 2022. You would actually be starting now, which is May 2021, to begin to prep your application. So you would not be it's not like, I know like sometimes when you're applying, even when you're applying for undergrad, you might be applying in October, November, December, sometimes even January, February, March to be starting in that August. But no, medical school applications, you'll be starting in May. So everything you need for your application needs to be prepared years in advance. Yes, I said years in advance. So it's not something that you wake up and you're like, oh, I want to go and get a medical degree, and then you just wake up, open the portal and start applying. No. That is not how it works. And if that's the mindset you have, oh my God, you will be dashing these people money because you're not going to get in. I'm telling you, you're not going to get in. So you need to know that the actual application cycle itself is a year long, but the process is years in the making. So if you know that medicine is something that you want to do in the US, you need to start prepping in advance. Another thing is that here in the US, to become a medical doctor, you can go through 2 routes. So the first route is the MD route, and the second route is the DO route. So MD here is allopathic physician, and DO is osteopathic physician. Both of them are fully licensed medical professionals. They just have slightly different philosophies with which they practice medicine. Fully licensed doctors, they are both physicians working good to go, whichever one you are doing. However, it's very, very important that you know that both routes exist. I didn't know that there was anything like DO till I was already in my master's program. I had never heard about it before. Yes, there are fewer DO schools, but I just feel like they are not talked about, especially in international student spaces. They are not talked about. No, many people are not talking about them. Many people don't even know that they are eligible to apply for them. Many people don't even know that they exist. So if you're an international student looking to come to the United States to study medicine, really look into becoming an osteopathic physician. I'm going to make a video about what doing a DO program might look like for an international student, things that you need to consider if you want to do DO program in the United States. So look out for that video one of these days. The next thing is that some of you who are looking to come to do medicine in the United States, some of you have already completed a medical degree. So if you are one of those people who have already completed a medical degree and you want to come and do medicine in the United States, there are still options and there are still paths for you. The first one, and which is the least popular one, but people do it, I'm not even going to lie, is that people will come to the United States and they will start afresh. So what do I mean? They will come, start afresh, they will redo undergrad, do their prereqs all over again, apply to medical school, and then start from there. That is a much longer, much more expensive route, and I don't know much about that to even say, oh, do it or not do it, but I just know that that's something that people do. The other more popular route is writing your USMLE and then applying to residency program. One of these days, I'm actually going to have one of my friends who did do that, who ended up matching this year into internal medicine residency. I'm probably going to have him on my channel, and then we're going to actually talk about what that process looks like for people who have already completed a medical degree outside of the US and how you can match into residency. Then something else that you need to know is that even though many schools accept international students in their undergrad phase, very, very few schools, and I'm talking less than 40 schools, actually accept international students to their medical programs. So this means that the amount of schools you even have the ability to apply to is very low. It's already limited. It's limited, and which makes it even more competitive. I know in my last video I mentioned that it was about only 8% of international applicants that actually get into medical school. So just know that limited amount of schools to even apply for, and then the fact that a lot of the schools that accept international students are already schools that are very, very hard to get into. And some will say they accept, but oh my God, y'all, don't worry. Many, many videos are coming. But some will say they accept, but who they accept is very, very, very tricky. So just know that the amount of schools that actually accept international students into their medical school is very limited. So that's something you should have at the back of your mind when you're coming. The fact that, that maybe you might come here to do medicine, and at the end of the day, that's not what happens. That's not what eventually happens for you. So you just need to know that that's a possibility. Just know, those are things that you need to consider. Another thing is that the funding available for international students is limited to non-existent. And this is something I'm currently going through. So for undergrad, you might be able to find resources, you might be able to find funding. Your undergraduate school might provide scholarships, they might provide, grants, different things. I was able to get tuition scholarship, just different things like that. The opportunities are more in undergrad, in the undergraduate phase. But for the actual medical school, international students are not eligible to many of the scholarships. We are not eligible to loans at all, so we can't even take loans. You might be able to get loans from your home country, but that's a different, so that would be your own country, you doing the loans on your own. But as for US loans, we are not eligible. The scholarships are only for US citizens and permanent residents. So it's just the funding. The whole funding thing is a very big deal that you need to consider. It might end up being cheaper, most likely, to actually attend medical school in your home country. So that's something that you really, really need to take into account. That can I carry the financial burden? Do I have parents, anybody to assist? Do I have maybe loans that I can take from my home country? Am I willing to take private loans here in the United States? All these things are things that you would need to consider if you want to attend medical school in the United States. And last but not the least, as this video is getting a little long, is that you might want to consider community college. So what are community colleges? Community colleges are 2-year colleges that you can complete before transferring to a 4-year university. So community colleges, they save money, they allow you to, adjust to the United States without being too hard initially. So that might be a good way to, reduce the overall burden when it comes to fees for you. So I think that's something that would be very, very important for you as an international student to consider. So I've gone through everything, and really, 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 medicine is something that you want to do in the United States. Just make sure that you really, really take into account some of these things I've mentioned in this video, because it's not easy, but I know that you will succeed.